This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, there you go. Not rich.
Yeah. You got it.
And medicine right now.
Yeah, it is. My friends over this is doing that, trying that.
Transportation. That's true. People are really struggling, they don't struggle. They do. It's, you know, yeah.
Right.
Exercise super.
You got it covered. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of monsters at home.
Therapeutic response. Hold it. So,
Lights are fading now, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take home feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name, though nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let this silence bend until we meet again. The lights are fading now, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take alone feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name, though nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let this silence bend until we meet again. The lights are fading now, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take alone feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name, though nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let the silence bend until we meet again. The lights are fading now, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take alone feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name, though nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let this silence bend until we meet again. The lights are fading now, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take alone feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name, though nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let this silence bend until we meet again. The lights are fading, shadows dancing Your voice still in my mind. To spare one more time. Every step I take alone feels heavier when you're gone. I still breathe your name. Nothing feels the same. Wait for me tonight. I'll be home by first light. Let the silence spend till we meet again. The lights are fading out, shadows dancing on the wall. Your voice still in my mind. To bed one more time. Every step I take, you breathe your name. Wait for me tonight. Let the silence bend until we meet again.
All right. I walked through
Now
the chairs and just listening. I heard a lot of great conversations. So we're only gonna take a few, but I want to hear some feedback. I want to hear some share outs. What you all came with. I'm gonna start with my second. She got her hands up, y'all. Look at here. Look at here. She's not playing. Come on, Miss Tess. What did your table come up with some of these answers? And don't start talking without somebody phone. You ready to go?
What is one strength of our community? Resilience, advocacy, communication. What is one challenge? Language, barriers, transportation, childcare. What partnership opportunities do you see? We have food banks, sign language, LA Care, Zumba, exercise therapy, and Best Start as well. What gives you hope? Faith, church, Best Start, and LA Care.
shadows dancing on the wall.
All right. Anyone else want to share out?
To spare one more
Yeah. Okay, come on.
Every
Let's
step
go.
I take alone feels heavier when you're
So what gives us?
I still breathe your name.
Okay, yeah. So what is one strength of our community? So I would say it's the programs, the nonprofits provide a space for everyone to access resources and the unity with the families who come to these community events. That's start.
What's one challenge?
One challenge is gaining more awareness of the resources available. That's something that we learned coming here is how programs like this can easily be overlooked or around the community, and then you meet someone who needs it and you're like, oh yeah, and they're like, I didn't know this. Not until they're at their wits end needing something, they find it or they don't. So I think that's our biggest thing is getting the word out there when you need any kind of assistance. All for Kids is a hub and they can connect you with all those kind of resources. But yeah, just getting the word out more in more spaces like childcare, open house at elementary schools, just little things like that. Me and my partner have thought about. And also more funding in the Antelope Valley. We are very overlooked and we'd like to get more funding in our community. It's rapidly growing.
Thank you. I'm coming back to my table back here with Miss Sophia. She's like, I knew she was coming to me. I made eye contact. You looked me in my eyes, so you know I was coming over here.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Sofía.
Y uno de los puntos fuertes que nosotros en esta mesa encontramos como para la comunidad.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia. One of the things that we talked about on our table that is strongly in our community
Son los recursos que tenemos en todo el Valle de la
it's all the resources that we have available here in the Antelope Valley.
como dijo Tess, la abogacía que tenemos.
Also, like Tess mentioned, the advocacy that we have.
Y los retos que encontramos en el Valle del Antílope es muchas veces llevar la información a las familias y el lenguaje.
And one of the challenges that we have here is the language and the information that's given.
Vemos oportunidades de colaboraciones, sí, por medio de, bueno, a mi manera, como escuché a mis compañeras, cuando nos informamos, aprendemos, somos parte de los lugares, vemos esas oportunidades de colaboración y aparte, pues, muchísimo.
So regarding the collaboration, not the question about the collaboration, yes, that we go there, we get the information, we learn it, and we take it into action.
¿Y qué nos da esperanza? Pues programas o iniciativas como Pestar, las iniciativas como Bestar, los programas que nos brinda a los talleres y pues muchísimo más que nos da Bestar.
Lo voy a decir exactamente como lo dijiste. Okay, so one of the hope that they have here regarding the initiative, she did say CCRC, but then said Best Start. Okay? She said Best Start. So she said that the workshops, the information, everything that is provided at the initiative that Best Start has here.
Thank you, Miss Sophia. I'm going to read some comments from those viewing us online. So we have from Cassandra, one of the strengths she says in our community are some of our programs such as Best Start or All for Kids. Some of the challenges she sees are child care and transportation. How many can agree we have some issues with transportation in the high desert, right? Thank you, Cassandra. That's it. All right. So thank you for sharing. You get to know the people at your table. This is a part of our community that we definitely want to stay connected with the partnership. So thank you all for sharing out. Right now, we're going to do a partnership review. For April, May, June, this is a review of all that we've been doing. Yeah. So I'm going to have David. Okay.
Thank you, Farrell. So today, I wanted to share with you guys just a quick recap because last time we met in April, it feels like it was forever ago. I feel like I can barely remember it. But basically, we wanted to give you guys a recap of everything in between as well. So we had our Growing Brain series done here with Youth with a Purpose. CCRC collaborated alongside us in presenting that. We also had our community input session. So DCFS put together a community input session that looked into helping inform their copy with DCFS sessions. So we had a lot of our DCFS, we had our Department of Children and Family Services, we had Penny Lane and All for Kids all collaborate in getting our community notes together for that and getting input so we can really form a better way to create more community events, especially in a way that connects with an organization as important as DCFS. The next piece that I wanted to talk about was Denise. So Denise over here had our Nutrition for Pregnancy and Early Childhood workshop series. And we had also our Nurturing Relationship series done with Ms. Kari. We've been quite busy in terms of workshops. On top of that, our team here with Darrell and Gloria put together a Family Money and Moving Forward financial literacy series, talking about money, the trauma and money, and how that really affects our finances. And This was done very recently. I believe we had
That class was Wednesday.
Yep, last class was Wednesday. There you go. Wednesday being yesterday.
Yes.
Yep. Look at that. Yeah, exactly. We've also had a lot of outreach efforts. So we have ADPH right there in the back. Shouts out to them. But we've had 22 outreach events. We've had 24 community meetings, 139 outreach events, and we've had a community impact in which we strengthen partnerships and increased awareness of resources. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it. Yes, come on now.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see familiar faces and new faces. My name is Natalie Cortez. I'm the AVPH supervisor for Vestart. And from April through May, our outreach efforts included flyer drop-offs. It could be at any small business, any childcare provider, any local nonprofit, anyone in the AV. We also did lobbying, which is we were in WIC offices, Palmdale, Lancaster, Wesley, Barts. We also did a lot of events out in the community. So if you guys are familiar with the Best Start calendar, anything that is green is a free outreach event for the families out in the community. And we also did amongst like coalition meetings, any meetings out in the community that where we can speak about Best Start, and yeah, we did a lot between myself and Solana. If you can raise your hand a little bit. She's also supporting, and she does amazing work out in the community. So if you guys are out in the community and you see her, just say hi. But thank you guys for being here. Hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Natalie. So that's what the partnership has been busy doing, a lot of work. And now we're going to kind of bring you what we're going to do is share with you the outcomes of our change projects that were in process. We came up with some community change projects, and now it's time to find out, how did those turn out? What happened? So we're going to first start with our child care educators. And I'm going to have Gloria, my good friend, come on up here and share what's been going on with them.
Good morning all. My name is Gloria Vargas, Community Outreach Lead. And as we had mentioned in previous regional meetings, we have projects in place. And this is our last kind of information of how that went about. And so the goal was to have childcare types, cost and enrollment, have 8 potential educators to train, and this was Spanish and English, and to reach up to 400 total parents. So as a final result, we had 2 educator training sessions, which we had, I believe up to 5 educators in Spanish and 5 or 4 educators in English. And so we held those trainings. And also our final result with them, because I know that life kind of hits everyone, and unfortunately some educator providers couldn't complete the project. So we had a total of 8 full trained educators who have reached, between those 8 educators, they reach up to 480 parents. And this was to let them know about childcare types, costs, and enrollment. And a little thing that I actually wanted to share with you guys is, not only that we provided these projects to help within our community and build that awareness, but also establish leadership within those project educators, where I had some feedback from some educators who share with me, like, I never imagined myself even communicating with anybody or speaking out. And through this project and through these trainings, I was able to open myself up more and be more confident when speaking with community, and be a resource to my friend, family, and my community. So I wanted to share that insight that this particular educator helped, and that we helped that way, and to establish that skill in leadership. So I really want to give a round of applause to all of the educators, because they were out there is sharing this information. And because of that, we were able to connect many in our community resource to childcare types and costs. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. I'm so excited about what we were able to accomplish with our partners and those who went to be educators, many of who went on to do the second portion. They were interested in becoming childcare business coaches. And I am super excited about that. Our childcare, the goal was to childcare business coaching curriculum. We developed and were able to administer curriculum to coach others in the community who were interested in opening up their own childcare business, such as their own home childcare business or a childcare center. So our coaches were taught, okay, this is the things that you need to teach the community, those who express an interest in wanting to open up a business. So we had 8 coaches, 5 of which I believe were all Spanish speaking, and 3 of which were a part of our overall English speaking. So 80 potential providers received coaching support. The final result, that was our goal, at least 80%. So our final result was we held 2 coaching cohorts, one in English, one in Spanish. And what I'm really excited to share was that one of the educators, and she's here, Ms. Daisy, was able to be a facilitator. In other words, she moved out and was able to coach the Spanish-speaking educators on the coaching to be business coaches. So she gained skills to do facilitation, how to set up a facilitation guide, how to administer the teaching curriculum, and each week she taught that curriculum. So give Daisy a hand for that. Raise your hand, Daisy, because I'm going to give you your dap, girl. Click, 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 click. All right, all right. So we had 8 coaches and 11 potential providers have already received coaching. So these coaches are already out there. They're talking to people about how do you open up your own business? People are coming to them. They're talking to them. This is in lieu of one of our goals. It's like, okay, how do we help our community alleviate poverty? How do we help people set up their own businesses? Come on, that's exciting. And so our educators and our child care coaches are doing exactly that. So I want to commend all of our coaches. Give them a hand because they are working it, y'all. Now we're going to have our advocacy workshops. Come on, I'm going to have Ms. Carla come up for this one.
Thank you, Darrell. I will say also, we're gonna dance. I will say that these projects were a huge undertaking, and we recognize that multiple residents joined in on multiple projects, and then we were like, wow, this is a lot of work, right? And so we have to recognize, right, that while some of the goals might have been set high, what we were able to achieve is still just as good. Even if we didn't meet that goal, having one of our residents step up and say, hey, I want to facilitate to make this Spanish group happen was huge. So I do want to give that recognition to our residents. They worked really hard. Stephanie, who's our policy analyst, is on leave, and so we also had to kind of like troubleshoot and figure out how do we make sure that our policy work continues in her absence. She went ahead and completed the advocacy workshops back in November, so there's nothing new here because we did finish these a little earlier in the year. Our goal was to have 10 advocacy workshops in English and Spanish, and we were able to complete that. These workshops were facilitated by our policy committee. I see Sandy in the back, so that was one of our facilitators. Again, the goal is to have the residents lead the work. We had 4 policy committee members support that effort. And then of the 50 parents reached, that was the goal. Let me see, do we have that over there? 25 parents completed the advocacy series. This was a little bit interesting because we did a 1 hour in English and 1 hour in Spanish. we were hoping to get as many parents as possible. And we got a 25, to reach 25 in a single class can be a bit difficult sometimes. So we were glad that we were still able to achieve at least 25 within that 2-hour time frame, which meant parents were still showing up for that 1 hour. It's not included in the count, but one of the successes of this workshop series was that the facilitators went on to use the presentations in other events externally. So while it was created by our residents, it was then used outside as well, which is exactly the purpose of these projects. They're not meant to just be created here and be used here. They are for the community. So a big ups to the policy committee for those efforts.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to David before we actually go into the other advocacy piece.
Okay, guys, I'm back. So, I also wanted to take a moment to ground ourselves a little bit. I wanted to, I don't know, take like a little a story of how when I first started, things seemed a lot different from where we are now. I first started capturing data surrounding our demographics and the people involved with InvestStart back in December of 2023. And what I found back then was that only 14% of our partnership was really composed of parents and providers, which are the primary stakeholders for our 0 to 5 initiative. Naturally, that would assume that most of the engagement that we were getting wasn't in the direct population serving, our 0 to 5 children. So I think there's been a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of buy-in. There has been a ton of ideas thrown around, strategizing. I know that you guys, for example, in our last April meeting, we asked you guys directly for feedback. We've continuously been asking for feedback, and that has shaped where we are today, to which now, when we, in our latest demographic review, we have about 60% of our engagement being from parents and providers, which is the primary stakeholder group, which is where we want to be. We'd love to have allies. We'd love to have people show up and help us in, from areas that might not directly serve children 0 to 5. But I really think that it's been kind of eye-opening for me to see how many new faces are getting involved every single time, how many residents are getting the chances to be able to share their experiences and leverage their lived experiences and actually become advocates, become faces, have voices, because before it feels like, there was a dire need for that. So with that in mind, I'd really, really like to keep us, thinking about how we can continue to grow from here onward, because there's still more to do. And I feel like as we transition, from Best Start into a community-led initiative, there's going to be a lot more work that's going to be done from our groundswell, from our grassroots, from our parents, our providers, our stakeholders, our collaborative group. So just keeping that in mind, there was a lot of data that went into these strategies. So the first thing that I wanted to share, and this is something that isn't exactly a community change agenda item, but this is something that really helped inform us, and even like our policy pieces. So we have a literature review. I feel if you guys would like, it's been up for a little bit, but scan that QR code, you guys can access it. So that has access to a ton of different data sources throughout the Antelope Valley. So if you guys would like to see that, that is in regards to housing and poverty alleviation. So I don't know, we took a little bit of time on that one, and this is a living document. So this is continuously going to be updated. So with that in mind, we also have our child care provider needs assessment that was done. So our provider needs assessment was something that was worked on with, I think 4 members total of our data committee. And we basically went over, asking providers, looking at community language. I think I've previously gone on a spiel of how we kind of went over that. But basically, as a result of this needs assessment, we had 34 providers complete it, to which that gave us a ton of insight into what our providers need. So again, so if you guys want to see like the full like responses and what that looks like, we have a QR code here in which you can kind of, check all that out. But this was something that I was really like proud of for our community, because it seems like there's a ton of questions for the parents themselves, but we want providers to be involved. We want our providers to have a say, and we want them to be a part of our advocacy movement. So this was a great way for us to capture what it is that they need, where they're at, and as we continue to advocate for more funding for our providers, for our childcare providers, this provided a great data component to see what it is that they're prioritizing and how they're doing. So that is a QR code if you guys wanted to see those full results. And then on top of that, we have our resource mapping, which is our newest component. So this one is a Google My Maps. And basically what we've done with this one, within our data committee, we've mapped childcare and family resources. So we have family resource hubs involved, we have government assets, we have food banks that were captured, our resource hubs, and on top of that, our Best Start resource hubs located. So this is just a way for us to capture data that we have and put it in a way that's a visual, essentially. So instead of combing through like our like the directories, I guess, the resource directories, this is a way for you to actually see it. And if you want to see something, you want to go somewhere, you can click on one of those little icons and it'll take you right to it if you have Google Maps open. So with that in mind, this was the goal for this one, was to just create this one. As I mentioned with our literature review, it's continuously being developed, it's continuously being grown. But this is just the baseline that we wanted to present to the community, and we wanted to make it accessible. So with that in mind, one last thing that I wanted to share, something that was pretty big with us in putting together the addresses, was actually this list of food banks as a result of being part of our work with the Antelope Valley Fan Network. So our food and nutrition, we have a big old list of food banks that we were able to put into the resource map. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it might be a little bit overwhelming to look at all these, but all that information has been put into our map here. So if you guys would like to keep taking pictures of that one, that's there for you guys to see. But on top of that, I guess I'll give it back to Carla. Thank you, guys.
David and his amazing hard work.
Yeah.
His brain, super fast. I was like, whoa, we need to put this on a handout. And we need to, make sure that this hard work doesn't just stay here in this presentation. We want to make it accessible to everyone in the community. So thank you for leading those efforts. Okay. Okay, so a couple of other items that we've been working in the community are the child care resource hub. So Stephanie was helping us with these efforts. The goal was to have 4 resource hubs in the community. And more than anything, it was like strengthening the partners within the network. We ended up with 3. SLEA Therapies, who's down on Sierra Highway. That way, right? Yeah. Youth with a Purpose, who's more in the Lancaster area. And Ohana Center, who's right down the street from us over here. So these are smaller nonprofit organizations. Sorry, SLEA Therapies is a employee-owned business. But they said, you know what? We would like to do the work that Best Start is doing within the All for Kids offices in our offices. This is a huge undertaking, right? So for a smaller organization to say, hey, how can I implement this within my organization with my staff? It's huge. But one of the reasons we decided to do this was to make the resources accessible within our neighborhoods. All for Kids, I love our organization, love our building, but it is not the most central for our residents on the eastern side, right, of our communities. So one of our goals was really to spread the work. In the end, these 3 resource hubs were able to hold 4 childcare info sessions. No, just kidding. Hold on. 3 childcare info sessions. 3. No, it is 4 because someone actually helped 2. SLEA Therapy did in English and the Spanish. So that's how we ended up with 4. I kept looking how did we do 4 if we only have 3? It's because SLEA did 2 info sessions. They held 3 professional development classes for childcare providers. And Youth with a Purpose, it was not a requirement, but they, as you saw a little bit earlier, decided to host two child development workshops in collaboration with CCRC, ourselves, and Youth with a Purpose. So that was kind of like an extra. They weren't required to do that, but we really appreciated their willingness to take that on because we have done the Growing Brain here. We've done it online, but we hadn't done it in Lancaster, right? To make it, again, more accessible to our residents out in the city of Lancaster. So we really appreciate that they were willing to take that on and make it happen. Their facility is amazing as well. So I love that parents got an opportunity to check it out, see the space, and feel welcome in their own neighborhoods. So we're really excited to continue. We have had brief conversations with all three of them. They're really excited to continue this work for next fiscal year. And so we're really excited that this has been a great, fruitful start. Okay, so that was our resource hubs. And then Stephanie started the Advocacy Fellowship, and along with the most amazing team in the world, they were able to make sure that we saw it through to the very end. The goal was to have 10 parents, specifically with children 0 to 5, start and complete this fellowship. And by the end of the fellowship, they were to have one legislative briefing with a couple of representatives or a representative in our community. We just finished last Friday. We had 10 parents who started and completed the fellowship. So that this fellowship, we started in like February, March. That's a huge commitment for parents with little ones to have to show up week after week, meet with our policy analysts, meet with the policy committee. That is huge, right? So thank you to the parents who showed up day after day to make sure that they completed the requirements of this fellowship. Last Friday, they met with State Assembly member Juan Carrillo to share about their experience as a parent living in the Antelope Valley with a child under the age of 5. So this was a great conversation. The State Assembly member shared different resources that he was also aware of, things that he himself was working in the community, and things that were in the budget, right, that he is continuing to advocate for. So it's good to know that the Assembly member is fighting for families with young children in our community. At this time, I would also like to invite our fellows to come up here and share a quick reflection, which is also a part of a requirement for the ending of their fellowship. We'd like to invite them. We'd like to recognize their amazing hard work, but we want you to hear it from them. What was this experience like, and what was their key takeaway from the conversation they had with the State Assembly member? So, you know who you are. Get on up here. If I could just have, I think we have about 7 in the house and 3 online. So we can just have you guys come on up. Whoever wants to come first, take the mic.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Denise. My experience with the fellowship has really opened up my eyes to see how much power my voice actually has with our government officials. So in the fellowship, we learn how our local government operates and makes decisions, and we learn how we can actually connect with those government officials and voice our concerns. We had an opportunity to meet with Juan Carrillo and have a conversation with him, actually sit down and have a conversation with him about the needs in our community, what each individual person was going through, what each individual person was truly struggling with. And he was there to 100% listen with us, connect with us. So that was truly an experience like no other. We learned how important it is for us as a community to be involved with these policy decisions and all of the things that these government officials are doing that do ultimately affect us individually and our communities. And I wanted to thank Benchmark for giving us such an amazing opportunity, which will ultimately have such a positive impact on us individually and our community, because now we know how to advocate our concerns, the concerns that we hear from other people, to these top officials that we feel so disconnected from.
Hi, my name is Anthony. I'm the parent of a 3-year-old. And I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in this fellowship. It's been a really valuable experience to hear all the parents' perspectives and reflect on the needs of young children and families in the Antelope Valley. Made it feel like our voices do matter. Appreciate the time, the care, and the space this program created for us to share our experience. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Sofia, and I'm gonna express in Spanish because it's better for me. So.
I got you, girl.
So, soy una de las mamás que estuvo en este programa también de 3 meses. Y estoy muy agradecida con Stephanie por la oportunidad que me dio.
I was one of the moms that was part of this workshop, and I'm very grateful for Stephanie.
En este programa aprendí a cómo abogar por nuestras necesidades. También tuve una experiencia muy grande porque conocí muchas cosas que realmente desconocía ya de tantos años viviendo aquí en Estados Unidos.
That she enjoyed the program she had for the experience that she received. She actually saw, learned a lot of things that she didn't know before. It helps me advocate for our needs.
So, este programa me abrió los ojos a ver realmente más la necesidad de las familias, porque yo soy mamá de 4 niños. So, tengo una menor de 0 a 5 años.
So this actually helped me to help other families because I also have my family. I have 4 children and one of them is 0 to 5.
Y pues bueno, fue una jornada grande, como pues sí, bastantes meses, semanas más bien. Y venir con nuestros hijos no es fácil.
And it was definitely a long journey because coming with your children, it's not easy.
Y este tiempo que estuvimos en este programa, pues me hizo entender más las necesidades de nosotros, las familias.
And this program actually helped us as a family to know what our actual needs are.
Y con nuestra última junta con el asambleísta Juan Carrillo, pues sí, me abrió los ojos a mirar todo lo que realmente podemos hacer con nuestra voz.
Hurry up because I'm going to finalize this. So one of the things that she really enjoyed the most was the last meeting that they had with the assembly member Juan Carrillo. And she actually realized there what can actually be done being at those meetings.
Este programa me anima a mí como mamá, el poder asistir a las city council.
So this actually leads me to participate more in the city council meetings.
Y pues saber si podemos también alzar la voz por toda nuestra comunidad en el Valle del Etíope.
And this helps me to raise my voice here in the Antelope Valley.
Bueno, mi nombre es Marta Díaz. Esta beca me dio la oportunidad de tener más confianza en mí misma, en una sociedad que a lo mejor tengo como un poco de desventaja por el idioma.
So this scholarship helped me, being that it helped me that in this society I could be like a disadvantage, but it helped me because of my, because of the language. It's harder for her because of her language.
Y bueno, la oportunidad de participar en de conocer cómo uno puede abocar por la comunidad, no solo con los mismos vecinos, sino con las autoridades, en este caso que fue con el diputado, y en las reuniones de la ciudad.
And one of the things that it helped me learn to advocate is being able to be more involved with the deputy and being involved in the city council meeting.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I got a 5-month-old baby girl and a 4-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. My fellowship experience has been very meaningful to me. Through the fellowship, I found support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. It helped me grow and find my voice, and knowing that it's other people in the same situation as me. It taught me the importance of advocacy, speaking up for myself and others, seeking resources when needed, and help others feel heard and supported. Fellowship has been shown me that we are stronger when we work together and lift one another up. I'm grateful for the friendship, guidance, and opportunities to grow that the fellowship has provided. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience.
Hi, my name is Karen. I love meeting the people who run Investor. We have a voice. We can be involved in our community. We can speak on behalf of our kids, 0 to 5, to better their future. Going to the council meeting opened up my mind on how much we can fight for our community. Programs like Best Start helps and builds us up to be an active parent for our kids. Meeting with other parents and helping us with resources and communities, building friendships and building hope for our community.
Hi, my name is Vanessa. I'm a mom of a 3 and a 5-year-old. And something I take with me from this experience is realizing I am not alone in my struggles and realizing how we can all come together as one and be a voice for one another. Something that we all had in common was wanting more resources for childcare, and Juan Carrillo understanding made us feel seen and heard.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I am the mother of a 3-year-old. What I can take away from the fellowship is I am not the only person not knowing where to start and how intimidating advocacy for yourself, your child, and community can be. The fellowship gave me tools on where to start. One example was attending a city hall meeting and how accessible it was to attend. And by that, by attending the city hall meeting, it's a place where I can use my voice to advocate for my community.
Don't sit down, don't sit down. We have, I think, 2 people online. Cassandra? Okay, so Cassandra should be able to share with us now.
Hi, am I on?
Yes, we can hear you.
So from this fellowship, it was very eye-opening for me. I am a mom of a 5-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I was noticing, like, even for me, that I'm struggling to even have my first home. So with this fellowship, we noticed all the data that actually occurred in the AV and how much people are financially unstable. And with this fellowship, it inspired me to advocate. I unfortunately was not there with Juan Carrillo due to medical reasons, but if I had the opportunity, I would advocate to make sure that we had more childcare. Due to that, with childcare, we're able to work, we're able to sustain a social life, and then make sure that our kids are being properly taken care of.
Thank you, Cassandra. We had a little bit of trouble hearing you, but I think we got the message across.
Thank you.
Did we have one other person online? Carmen, do we have somebody else online? Yeah. Okay. Who's missing? Oh, Paulette! Paulette, coming to you, girl. I'm coming. Huh? Okay, you got it.
Well, I feel like this fellowship gave us the opportunity to bridge the gap between and our family member, and I feel like I was able to voice my concerns, but the thing that I feel like helped was how it highlighted all the needs for people in the Antelope Valley as far as the examples that they shared with us, and then didn't sharing each other's stories. We're not too much different than each other, and I mean, I just feel like it's a great opportunity and a great tool, and if there's any future fellowships, I feel like anybody who has to find us should definitely sign up.
Thank you, Paulette. And then to recognize their advocacy efforts, the city of Palmdale did award us some recognition certificates. So I'm gonna call your guys' names and ask you to come get your certificate. So this certificate is a certificate of recognition, and it is presented to Denise Sanchez in recognition of your dedication and advocacy as a participant in the Best Start AV Advocacy Fellowship, supporting families with young children in the Antelope Valley. Your commitment to learning about housing insecurity and poverty alleviation, and your active engagement in community change efforts have made a meaningful impact. And then we have Anthony. Sophia. Joaquin. Marta. Destiny. Karen. Kimberly. Cassandra, who is joining us online and will get her certificate. Vanessa. Paulette, I'll come to you. You want to come over? Okay. Miss Vanessa. And Miss Paulette. Yeah. So as you can see, our fellows have been hard at work. At this, they finally complete their fellowship. And of course, advocacy continues, right? So we also have a special guest joining us today, Mr. Adam Seiden, our Director of Policy and Advocacy and External Engagement here at All for Kids, who is going to share a little bit about what All for Kids has been doing as well.
Hey everybody, good to see you again. I pull up myself. Yes, I'm Adam Seiden, Director of Policy Advocacy. And I'm just here to kind of give you a little update on what we have going on. Before I kind of go into that thing, before I go into the field of what it is we have going on, I'm going to take a few slides, kind of make sure we know the time frame and stuff we're talking about. Okay, actually, do I have a clicker?
You do.
It is a clicker, different than do I have it. So to start with, when I'm talking about bills, we have like two houses, just like at the federal level, there's the House and the Senate. At state level is also the state assembly and the state senate. So for a bill to get passed, it has to get out of its what's called house of origin, the house that is introduced in. So like it was introduced in the assembly, it has to get out of that before it then goes over to the Senate side, or vice versa. And it needs to go through a committee hearing, which kind of looks like the policy. Do we like this policy? Separate conversation from appropriations, which is like finance. Like, okay, there might be a bunch of things we like, but how much of this can we afford? And then it has to get out of that. And then if the two houses agree, then it goes to the governor, who has the ability to sign or veto. Where we're at right now, as far as our time frame, we're right here in the end of June. March, April, May is a big time for advocacy. That's when a lot of the stuff's getting formed. I don't know if any of you work on a budget that's kind of has a fiscal year, starts July 1st. That's how California is. And so right now, we actually just, the Assembly and the Senate have like an agreed budget. They're meeting with the governor to kind of fully flesh it out, and that's kind of the time frame we're in when I'm talking about these things. Then in July and August, we have what's called, then has to go to that second house I was talking about. That's where a lot of those deadlines happen. By the end of August, stuff has to have gotten to the governor, and then he has basically September to sign a veto. And you get to October, where you're basically, a lot of people are focusing on this election. In November, starts over again. So that's the time frame I'm talking about. And that's why we do every year put out and we as All for Kids puts out a policy agenda, and we put that out actually in March. So we were part of going up and meeting with elected officials in March. We put this out in April, again, to affect that timeline I'm talking about. And it always has these same kind of 5 planks: child care and early childhood development, healthcare for children and their families, family financial stability, strong communities, and robust foster care system. Those are the things that we think have the best chance of preventing abuse, nurturing child well-being. It's also those things where, as an agency, All for Kids has an expertise in. People know that we've been doing this for a long time. Those things. So when we talk about them, those things people listen to. I mean, for example, strong communities. Like the idea is, best start brings everybody together here. That what we just heard from was so amazing. I loved hearing all of the fellows. That was that kind of idea of like, how do you bring people together? Like, well, that's the thing that we do, and so that's the thing that we talk about. So where we're at right now, these are the things that are still alive. There are a few other things that were on our policy agenda that didn't kind of make it out of that first house. I'm not going to go through talk about all these. There's a few of them I kind of wanted to highlight. So in the child care and early childhood development, one thing is AB 1746, which would basically say, okay, if you're part of CalWorks, if you're getting cash assistance, let's make sure that you're aware that there is paid child care options. It's kind of trying to make sure that each step of the way, people are being reminded as much as they can about the opportunity for child care. So that's something we're like, yeah, that's something we want to make sure people do and get. So we're supporting that. The next one, AB 2379, talks about child care providers and making sure you know what your constitutional rights are when immigration enforcement comes knocking on your door, and so they'll come in. It's like at All for Kids, like we have at our Magnolia place, which is kind of in Pico Union near downtown. We have a preschool, and up on our sign, we have a sign that says, like, look, if you don't have a warrant, you're not coming in here. And if you do have a judicial warrant, okay, we're only coming into the places where it says, and any place that's not part of that, you're not coming into. Because we know as an agency that we are going to protect our employees, we're going to protect our families. We want families to feel safe when they're going to childcare, and those kind of making sure they know that. Obviously, when it gets to the point where there's a warrant, it is for certain areas, then you need to comply, but you don't want to be intimidated out of things. What this would say is, including those that home-based childcare providers would be given that information as well to make sure that they are comfortable and that they know what they can rely on. And so that's another bill we think is very important. This one, you'll notice in parentheses, it says who is the author of it. It's authored by Jose Solach, but also Juan Carrillo, right here in this district, who you were just talking about, that the fellow went and met with. So he's one of the ones leading on this thing. It's great, though. The next one under the healthcare for their children and families, AB 2201. This is about, when I was here last year, one of the things I was talking about that we were trying to push back against was what was called HR1. It was, the president would call it the big beautiful bill, the Federal Budget Act that cut like $1 trillion in Medicaid. And so this is saying that, look, HR1 passed as it is. One of the main ways that it saves the country money is because it adds these extra hurdles people have to get through. So instead of having to check whether or not you're eligible, once a year, you're not having to do it twice a year, having to check for more work requirements. And the idea is the more and more paperwork you throw at people, the more chance they have of just falling off, because it's called churn. You just kind of don't keep it going. Well, this says, okay, obviously what state has to do what is coming down to us from the federal, but let's make sure we're streamlining that as much as possible. Let's make sure that we're making it as easy as possible to show that either you are working or there's like kind of a bunch of different categories of times you don't have to work. Let's make it as easy as possible to show that stuff. And so that's another thing we're saying. That's another one that we're saying. Let's make sure that the state is doing all it can to deal with what it is that came down was from federal. And family financial security, there's this SB 18, it has to do with food deserts, looking at areas where there's aren't enough grocery stores, there aren't enough good fresh produce. That's the kind of stuff that we are currently, it's not moving much right now, but it is technically still alive. So that's just a few of them that I want to highlight in these categories. And then kind of in the strong communities, there's a Family Prosperity Act. So this one's at the federal level. And this is looking to, to make sure that like family-friendly drop-in centers, like family resource centers, are supported, can actually get some federal funding. And this is like we're sitting in right now at Palmdale. This is a family resource center here. It's all the different things you can come in and get help with. We know how important those are. So this is trying to just push that more. Also wanted to give you a little update. I talked about last year, there's a move to reform how mandated reporting works and to try and oftentimes what is seen as something that should be reported is actually just a family dealing with poverty, and trying to make sure that we're kind of knowing the difference between that and knowing what kind of other options there are. If there's abuse, obviously, if a child needs to separate from the family, we fully agree that that's what happens. We're a foster family agency. We help find homes for kids in those situations. But when it's not abuse, when it's just a matter of a family needing help, why don't we instead get that family help? And oftentimes, like you find things where somebody's managed reporter is like, well, I don't know, I just was taught to always call Child Protective Services, let them deal with it. And I don't want to lose my license. It's those types of mind frames that we're trying to change. We were part of this managed reporting community supporting task force. The state put together a task force. I served on one of the subcommittees. A few of other of ours did. It put out like a list of what its recommendations are. This was a couple years ago. This is kind of my overall, it's my little crib note version of what those recommendations are. I talked about this last year. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but to kind of just give you an update of where we're at on this stuff. There's a number of things that we've been trying to do, but over the last couple of years, the bills have been failing. We're continuing to push on this stuff, having to do with like what exactly are the definitions of neglect. I was talking about that mind frame of like, oh, well, I want to save my liability, so I'll just report it. Well, why don't we see if we can give you some better training, if we can give you that connection to resources. But let's then, while we're doing that, if you kind of go through this checklist of does it need to be reported or not, you can be shielded from liability. So it's not like if you're like, oh, I have to report in order to save my license. It's more report when you think you should report. So these are things that have not gotten through. There's a number of things we did get through last year in the budget, which was the idea of, well, let's make sure that there is a standardized training that all mandated reporters have to go through that include things like disproportionality in the system, include things like what these community pathways are, what are alternatives. So it's kind of trying to make sure that happens. So that training is being developed. So that is a good thing we have going. And there was also something called a mandated reporting advisory committee that was formed, and it's continuing to push these forward because in order to keep this momentum going, we now have in the state kind of an official body that's looking at that and pushing this stuff forward. And so there's a number of things that are happening. So that is my update on where we're at with the legislation. Before I move on, I'm going to talk for another minute about some resources we have on our website. I just want to stop and see, are there any questions on any of the stuff that I've gone over so far? All right. Darrell, are you able to pull up the allforkids.org/advocacy? Look at that. Slide allforkids.org/advocacy. And if you go to that website, the pictures you just saw was actually something we did. I don't know if you know, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. We're trying to like raise awareness of that. We actually this year got the LA City Council to do an official proclamation of that. You want to scroll down a little bit, see. We did an official proclamation of that at a city council meeting. I know that's something that we worked with Lisa Sarno, who's actually up here in Antelope Valley, Action for Kids. She was somebody who's very helpful doing that. So we brought all of our child abuse prevention councils together to be part of that. You keep going down. That's what I'm going to highlight. Keep going down.
There you are.
There I am. Keep going. Keep going. What we have is, here we go. The timeline I was talking about, I saw some people like kind of taking pictures of it and stuff. So certainly I will share that presentation with you all, but we also have it up here. If you click on these things, you can go and see that timeline I'm talking about. There's some tips. There's actually even a template call script. I don't know if you can click on that template call script right here that you'll see. We're trying to make it like very easy. So if you're like, I don't even know what it is I would say to your legislator, you can call and just like use this. If there's something you care about, it's okay that you're talking to a staff member. You're letting them know that like you're in their district. That was a very important piece of what we like the fellowship was doing. Is like, hey, we're your constituents. We're in here. Here's what we care about. And so the idea is just being that if this is something, any of these things that we were talking about are something that you're interested in, we have this easy kind of call script to try and make it just easy for you to do. You can click out of that and scroll down a little bit more. Keep going. Keep going. We have links to contact your local elected officials. So that's there. It's easy to find who your people are. So this is the kind of stuff that we have on our website to help push advocacy forward, kind of trying to bring those tools to people to make it easier. And that is my update.
All right. So that was a lot to intake, right? Everybody take a deep breath. Let all of that information just land. We've been busy here at Best Start and All for Kids. And these are ways that we are empowering our community to continue moving forward. It's a lot, but we are resilient in the Antelope Valley. Can I get an amen? All right. Look, I got y'all now. All right. We're going to continue on. We have our community engagement and participatory information. Miss Carla, did you want to come up and share on our community engagement? Because there are ways that we plan on continuing for you. How do we continue as a community to engage in this type of work?
Actually, for this section, I want to give a huge shout out to Miss Gloria because she made it happen. And her welcome committee, because we would not have been able to pull off this event without the help of our residents. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you to the welcome committee for putting together the end of the year celebration. Like I shared earlier, the residents have been hard at work. This was not any short undertaking. And after a year of meeting together, reviewing slides, reviewing notes, just having those deep discussions on what do we envision these projects looking like, how do we implement them, how do we ensure that we are reaching the community. We wanted to make sure to give ourselves some time to celebrate the hard work. And so we had those who have been working on the projects and the committees join us for, again, an end of the year celebration to congratulate them for the amazing work. We are a small team. We could not have pulled this off without the help of the residents. So thank you, and give yourselves a hand of applause for those of you who have been doing the project. With that being said, we are at the end of this fiscal year. So I wanted to take some time to just provide you with a couple of updates of what is next. At the last partnership meeting, we shared that First by the Lake had made the final decision that this upcoming fiscal year from July to June will be the last year for Best Start. So there are 5 Best Start initiatives throughout the County of Los Angeles. We are entering our final year of funding. Every organization is now looking to figure out a way to sustain the work. So even though Best Start, as we know it, is ending, All for Kids is committed to continuing our place-based work in our community. We hope to have more information once we have all of that figured out. But I also wanted to just share, what does that mean for our community? Well, first and foremost, our role as a backbone team capacity is going to change. You have seen Jarrell for most of these partnership meetings be here and facilitate the meetings. Gloria has led our outreach efforts. David has done our data. ABPH has been doing the outreach. And as we are doing this work, we are also saying, hey, community, come and do this with us so that you guys have the opportunity to learn and do the work yourselves so that when we begin to fade away as an initiative, that the work can still continue in the community. And so what that means is that Jarrell will not necessarily be facilitating the meetings. Jarrell will be helping you, the residents, to facilitate these meetings, right? There is also going to be a bit of restructuring within our team. Our roles will look a little bit differently. Unfortunately, not the entire team will continue. And so we'll share a little bit about that in just a minute. But we are needing to take a bit of time to start prepping for what that restructure will look like. We will prioritize, like I shared at the last partnership meeting, we will prioritize the ramp down planning and transitioning of community change efforts. That means that we cannot expand the work with the current funding. We can only commit to doing what we already have and putting it into the hands of our residents and our partners. Anything that requires additional expansion would only be if we have additional funding outside of what First by the Lake provides us with. So again, we are working on that. We will engage our hub partners, so SLEA Therapies, Ohana Center, Youth with a Purpose, and ABPH have committed to continuing in the work for the next fiscal year. Does that make sense? In the next fiscal year, so we will discuss what does that look like for them to take more of the leadership roles. It could be that maybe the partnership meetings are held at Ohana Center, Youth with a Purpose, SLEA Therapies. It could be that they are the ones facilitating the meetings. So we are going to have those discussions with them, and then once we figure it out, we will come back and share in our July meeting. And then I know that at the last partnership meeting, our goal was to launch the Parent Advisory Board. Given the changes to our current team and just kind of like finishing up all the projects, there has been a delay. We just have to reassess our timeline. Our hope is that we can get that going before the end of July. But again, there's a lot of changes that we have to take into account. And so once we have more information, we will share. Any questions? Because I know it is a lot of information. And we talked about entering our last funding year as Best Start. I know that we really got the ball going, got really creative with coming up with what do we want this initiative to look like after June of 2027? What do we want to call it? You guys provided some great ideas. We have those stored. We didn't want to rush and jump into a new name all of a sudden without, ensuring that we have additional information. So we're gonna keep a hold on those ideas and maybe bring them back in July. It might take us a little bit more time to really hash out the details, but we don't want to lose that momentum. We don't want Best Start to just fizzle out and end. We want it to fizzle out with a plan that the residents are going to continue the work. that the work here in the Antelope Valley will be continued by our families, our partners who have been doing all this amazing work in this last year. Any questions? Comments, concerns? ¿Quieres invitar a bienvenidos. Yes, thank you. Yes. Okay. So Ms. Carla asked a question about our current committees. Our committees will have to be restructured. For example, the Welcome Committee focuses on outreach as does ABPH. Unfortunately, our last fiscal year does not include outreach, and so we have to figure out a way to transition our Welcome Committee to maybe like a transition committee. Right, so we currently have Welcome Committee, Policy, Data, and Sustainability, 4 committees. We'll have to restructure those. Again, once we have more information on what that new structure looks like, we will share out. The goal is that we also have those conversations here in the partnership. But 12 months go by very quickly, right? So those conversations have to start in July, and so we'll plan accordingly. I think there's a question over here. Yeah.
I had a question when it came to ABPH, right? And some of the comments I wanted to talk about when it comes to government and stuff like that, right? Getting permission, just not as a nation, right? Just as America and all that, well, right? What are some ways when it comes to some professional ways on how we can team together when it comes to the Latina community, the Mexican community, and some of the conflicts? Not just with language, right, but some of the different areas when it comes to child abuse, all the different peripherals. Like, how do you handle when it comes to equality, keeping everyone on the same page when it comes to all of that as well? What are some ways we can help the children to grow and to learn and to have their parents be able to grow and learn with their kids, knowing that there is a lot of child abuse, right? And child abuse has been happening for a long time, for over 30 years. We've been experiencing child abuse in America. You know, so how do we learn to not only identify when child abuse is also happening, but how can we also learn how to properly go about it? You know, child abuse has been going around since way before the 60s. It's been years, right? So we want to first be able to identify it, right? Learn about it and how to appropriately apply child abuse. You know, to figure it out, it is hard. There's a lot of hardships with it. You know, so I feel like teaching classes on that as well, because you want to then make sure that the right people are not being, harmed or deemed for it. You know, you also want to make sure that, successful people aren't really being hurt or being falsely accused or things like that, right? And the government does like to take the control when it comes to that. You know, I've noticed that in different situations. The government just says, "Oh, you hear this? Oh, guess what? It's bad," and that's not the case. And I don't want to just see the government just have its full control. You know, so I think having the education and the teaching to know that this is what it is, this is what should be done. I feel in that sense.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Thank you for the interpreter. So first and foremost, we need to keep the energy. Right, we need to keep the energy because without this energy, it just fizzles out. Yes, like I mentioned, ABPH, FLEA Therapy, Solana Center, and Youth with a Purpose have committed to continue for the next fiscal year. So if we continue the workshops, if we continue all of these engagement opportunities, the goal is that we continue it alongside with them so that I think we as All for Kids have, year after year done a lot, and we don't want, if the funding ends here, to just the work ends. We want to make sure that our partners can also continue pieces of the work. So the discussions will include that as well, like what pieces is each partner willing to take on? The goal is not to fizzle out. Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. With that, we do want to say a huge thank you to 2 of our BestStart team members, David and Gloria. They will not be continuing with us for the next fiscal year. But we know that in their next endeavors, they will do amazing things. Gloria will continue with us here at All for Kids, just in a different program. David will continue his amazing data work. Still working those pieces out, right? But we really want to appreciate their work, their dedication. I know the residents have shared, like, we have a good relationship, guys. We know you love us. We love you too. They have been very much committed to the work, and we want to say thank you and wish them well in their next endeavors.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Carla. I actually wanted from the bottom of my heart to thank all my community members who have established very profound connection. And also, I want to thank that the fact that me entering into this role, I was once in a parent coming to these meetings and had the amazing opportunity to have an opportunity to work for Best Start, not for kids, right? So for me, it was a big accomplishment. And so as I came to realize that maybe I was not going to be part of this anymore, it saddened me because of the connections I have built with community. It saddened me in many, many ways. Angelina, my daughter, for those who know me, my 5-year-old daughter, has now been mentioning to many of our friends, like, my mom no longer works with Best. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. She says, what are we going to do with Best Star shirts? I said, we're still going to wear it proud, girl. We're still going to wear them proud. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It was a little bit sad, but at the moment also, I think I have created a positive energy, and as cliche it sounds, one door closes, another opens, right? So I was trying to stumble like, no, but I want to be with Best Star forever. But our destination has other opportunities awaiting for me. So thank you, and I will continue to see you guys. Continue to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, we all want to be with Best Start forever.
Okay. Great. I saw this and I was like, man, it looks like I'm dying or something. Like in memoriam. But yeah, so I don't know. If I knew I was gonna have a last like conversation with you guys as a whole, I don't know, I would have practiced my standard routine. But I think for now, it's a bit sad to like, you know, come to an end of the road, as Gloria's mentioning. Like you do wish to see this work continue. But you know, unfortunately, the way that funding streams have gone, the way that, you know, if it comes to even like state programs and state funding, we've recently even had to deal with what Adam was mentioning with HR1. The state has to figure out what we got to do with you know, our healthcare, with SNAP, for example, that now has to come from state funds. So unfortunately, things like this, like prevention programs and initiatives like this, do get impacted at the end of the day. You know, these are very sensitive streams when it comes to that. But I did want to mention to you guys that in our work, I have really appreciated the importance that has now come to being data driven in our work, to being informed, to not having our emotions or, you know, feelings be the only thing that we're drawing upon, but having access to information, seeking information, being curious, and having that informed, you know, what we want to see in policy, what we want to see in change in our communities, what positive differences we want to see. It's really inspired me. So you know, with that, it's heavy to say that Gloria and I are going to be partying with Best Start, but I mean, like I said, this isn't like I don't know, I'm not dead. So like, feel free to reach out. You know, I've been a resident of the AV for my entire life. I've had a very long time working towards community goals and improvement, and you know, that's all been my passion. So my bottom of my heart, thank you guys for being so receptive to our work, to what I've tried to bring to our initiative. And like I said, yes, feel free to reach out. I'm still going to be in the community, so it's not like a goodbye. It's more like a see you later. So yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, so thank you to both Gloria, David, and again, we knew at some point Fast Start was going to begin to phase out. We love the community, that's why we're here, so we are, hopefully if you see us out there, or if you see them.
All right. And fortunately for me, I have both of them on speed dial. So if I need some technical information, some help, I'm gonna call David. David, how I do this? Gloria, let's go to lunch. So they are still very much a part of our All for Kids family. So coming up, our next meeting will be July 23rd. So put that on your calendar. We will be here at our All for Kids site. We want you to be a part because we are moving forward. We need your voice and how we're going to do that. You are integral about how we move forward from this point on because we will not be stopping this kind of process. We will continue on just in a new phase. So your voice is so important and we want to see you all here. So make sure you put that on your calendar. Our community announcement. Oh, I'm going to hurry up and rush through this. Can y'all smell the food? Oh, my Lanta. I was like, oh, it's smelling good up in here now. Let's hurry up. You know what? Our free produce distribution. Girl, it's lunchtime. Hold on. It's like, okay, enough of that. Let's go. All right. Our free produce distribution. We just had it yesterday, but our next produce distribution will be held on July 13th and then following that, August 10th. Make sure you come to that. It is essential because you know what, even if you have community, family, neighbors, friends that might need some extra fresh produce, come and be a part of that. Everyone is feeling the need to get a little extra help. So we are here for that. This is a community resource. Please share it with your neighbors, the schools, your families, your places of worship, whoever you know or see that might really need this information. Also coming up, Assemblyman Juan Carrillo. Yay, we love him. Back to school backpack giveaway and a resource fair will be coming up July 18th. Yes, take a picture of that. They're going to be giving away free backpacks for our youth. Also, the Antelope Valley Veterans Stand Down will be having just a gathering on June 20th. Services offered will be housing, information on housing, employment, veteran service officers, Cal Vet, education, and VA benefits. So if you know any veterans that might be in need of any of these resources, please, and we have veterans that have children, please take advantage of this. We talked about what are the community resources. Well, here are a few of them. So you can take pictures of these. They will also be on our website. So you can access them there, but you can take pictures of them now. It's going to be right up the street, by the way, at the Highlands Church. Yeah, so it's going to be at the Highlands Church. Oh, that's right here. Yeah. Also, June 24th, Tierra Bonita Park. There'll be live entertainment. John Schmidt. Okay. July 1st, Forest E. Hull Park. They're going to be live entertainment. So these are some things that are happening during our summertime. Take advantage of it. There'll be music, jumpers, games, activities. Boulevard Mighty Machines on Lancaster Boulevard. So that's going to be some fun things for the kids to do. That's July 30th. So take advantage of some of these free entertainment for the kids. Another food distribution from AVPH. Yay! Fueling the community. June 23rd. So if you weren't able to get to the one at All for Kids yesterday, on the 23rd of June. Wow, what is today? Come on, Aaron.
This food distribution will be held at Steven Sorensen Park in Lake LA. However, it is open to anyone in the AV. We are always looking for volunteers. If you're ever wanting to volunteer, you have a little bit of time. Some children are allowed to come and volunteer. They just have to be with the parent or an adult. So I encourage everyone who does have little ones. It's a really good opportunity for them to volunteer and just see how they can support the community. Also, if you are not able to come and sort the food itself, you're also able to volunteer the day of food distribution. The little ones, it'd be nice that they can support and see their moms or dads and passing out the food. It's a really nice experience. And yeah, it's free. And like I said, please bring your reusable bags because you're gonna take a lot of good fresh produce. We never put out anything out to the community that we wouldn't take ourselves. So everything that we have is we clean it, we prep it. It's fresh. So
I like that idea. How do we continue a community on knowing how to serve and give back? We teach the next generation. It's not about just what you get, it's about what you give. I know my mom messed me totally up. That's why I'm in nonprofit today, because she taught me that everyone doesn't have it as good as you. So she would take me on vacation on a cruise, and my mom would get off. You know how they do the you go to the different sites, the tours. She said, I don't want to take you on a tour. She would hire someone on the Haitian island. She said, take me where the real people live. I like, we're going to get lost in the bush. Ain't nobody going to know where we are. I know what's going to happen. She would take me off in the bush, and I would see people living in huts, washing their clothes, and the same water that they had to boil to cook in, and the same water that they had to excrement in. And she said, you have a blessed life. Look at people who don't have it as good as you. That stuck in my mind as a child. And now you see why I am today with y'all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it gave me a heart of service to want to give back. So I would highly recommend take your children. Let them see you serving and teach them how to give back. Also, for those of you, this is a part of one of our building things. We want to build, poverty alleviation. One of the things that we want to, those that have a mindset that say, well, what if I opened up my own business? What if I started my own business? Coming up in LA County, in Palmdale, Small Business Procurement Accelerator. Ready, set, go. If you're interested, how do you start your own business? How do we get that up and going? There's going to be a training July the 9th, the Thursday from 9 to 11 at the Doubletree Conference Room. So LA County Department of Economic Opportunity and the City of Palmdale, they're giving a free in-person workshop designed to help small businesses and entrepreneurs prepare for upcoming contracting opportunities from the county. So if you're interested and you know somebody that might benefit from this, go ahead and register for that. I think it's going to be really beneficial. This is how we start. We begin to take lead in our own businesses. Okay, we've come to the end of that. Follow us. Follow us. Scan our QR code. We are on Instagram, Linktree, Facebook, and then go ahead and subscribe to our website.
And we have a little thank you gift for you guys for staying committed to the partnership as well, for being with us month after month at these meetings. They have a special little message on here, and I really want to read it to you because we bought these with intention. We got these with intention. May you be proud of the work you do, the person you are, and the difference you make. We really value you have partnered on this work. So we'll pass these out. We also have food here. Some of you are already saying that you're freezing. Welcome to our everyday life where when we're in the office, we freeze. So we have a couple of tables out in the sun. It's just if you want to go outside for a little bit, eat outside a little bit, and get back inside, by all means, you guys will be able to do it. Okay.
So how are we going to do this? We're going to, as a team, we're going to go and we're going to pass out the bags to you. Again, we want to applaud you for your work. We're going to call you table by table. No, I'm talking for food. We're going to call you by table to come and get your food. So give us a few minutes, just kind of let this process. While we're doing that, I'll call you from table to table. But before we do, we want to say again, thank you. While you're sitting there, do me a favor. Take your phones out. Let us know. How do we do, y'all? Scan the QR code, take our survey. Let us know your thoughts about Best Start, what you thought of our program today as we're passing those out. Again, I do want to say, for many of you, I've seen you for years, you've come. For the time that I've spent, I have learned. Si habla español muy poquito. I've learned from Beto. I love you. Thank you. I've learned gracias. Thank you so much for accepting us and me. When I see you in Walmart, Stater Brothers at Target, holla at your girl. A cold. All my cold moms in the house, holla.
Real quick, I have an announcement I wanted to make to you guys. Let me let you guys know something about this woman right here, right? So when it comes to Best Star, right? First time LA. This woman right here has been so important. She's been so amazing. I love her with all my heart. Everything that she's done, time after time after time, she's helped us all grow. She's all of them. And not just me. I'm talking about all of us. She's helped us learn. She's helped brought community. She's helped brought advocacy. She's helped brought support. She, she's not a controlling woman. She just really loves us all, right? And maybe the mom in her, maybe the parent in her. But I'm really proud to see her grow. I'm really proud to see who she has become. The advocacy that she's done is so important to see the advocacy that she's done for us all. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I do not blush. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Y'all mean a lot to me. So I'm going to start with our table. In fact, I'm going to start with Nesto since he brought it on, so he's going to get to go first. His day gets to go first. That's how we do it. So everyone go get your food. As we finish passing those out, and then we'll go after this table. So y'all can go get your food.